I've had a lifelong fear of flying. I hate flying, and for years I refused to fly. And when I decided that I finally wanted to face that fear, I knew I had to learn how to deal with how I feel on a plane, like my heart pounding, and I feel like I can't breathe, and I feel like I'm trapped. And I thought, like, because I couldn't practice by getting on a plane, that's too much. But when else have I ever felt that way? And I realized the one time I'd been to an indoor cycling class, I hated it. I felt like I was trapped. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding. I wanted to escape, but I felt like the instructor had locked the doors and there was no way to get out of the room. So I started going to indoor cycling classes as a way to practice getting used to what it feels like to be on a plane, to feel trapped and afraid. And what was so crazy about it to me is, first of all, it worked, right? I learned how to tolerate that discomfort. I learned I can have a voice in my head that says, you can't handle this, you need to escape. And at the very same time that voice was in my head, I could have the experience of choosing to stay. Be like, no, you decided to do this, and so there's room for this voice in your head and also staying. And I learned to tolerate the sensations of discomfort. But something weird happened where, because of the playlist and like listening to empowering music, that I started to sense the sensations differently. And I started to have an experience when my heart was pounding of feeling not afraid, but like feeling brave and feeling badass. And somehow my brain like reorganized how it experienced the physical sensations of fear, so that in moments when I actually was afraid, suddenly I was like, I guess I'm brave, I guess I'm a badass. And movement is so amazing in that, how it gives us access to physical feedback that allows us to have this different sense of self. And again, I'm always encouraging people to figure out what's that movement for you, because this isn't about, believing everyone should exercise in a certain way to achieve some sort of ideal health, and certainly not some sort of like ideal appearance, but that every form of movement has its own empowering effects on your mind, and often it's a matching process. Figure out principles of everything I've ever tried to teach people, which is that you can have an inner experience that is telling you you must do one thing or you can't do this other thing. And you can at the same time choose something that's consistent with your values. I mean, certainly exposure therapy is like a very advanced version of that, where some part of you wants to be able to go out in public or to talk to someone, and overwhelming anxiety says, you can't do it. And most people choose to try to control their inner experience rather than choose the action that's most consistent with their values and their goals. So, this is true whether we're trying to overcome addiction, whether we are choosing to stay alive when there are voices in our head that are severely depressed and taunting us, whether we're choosing to overcome anxiety, that often the one skill you need is to say, I can't always control my inner experiences, but I can make a choice right now that I know my future self will be grateful for, that reflects my core values, and I'm gonna learn how to tolerate this inner experience. And that's true for stress. It can be also true for pain. I'm someone who is in pain most of the time because I have chronic pain. And that was the very first thing that pain taught me is you can choose to do things in a physical or psychological circumstance that is less than ideal, but you can make room for everything that's going on inside of you and still engage with life. So, that is literally the theme of everything that I try to share with people. And you can learn it through therapy. You can learn it through meditation, which is often just one big giant. You're sitting with things in your mind and your body that you don't want to deal with. And you definitely learn it through exercise, because so much of exercise is actually learning a new way to not only deal with physical discomfort, because exercise is hard. I'm not one of those people who says, you don't really need to exercise. You can just do the easy thing. Like, you don't have to sweat. You can just, stand up and stretch and you're done. Like, no, the more intense, probably the better for every aspect of you. And so you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get tired. There's going to be a voice in your head that says you have to stop. There will literally be feedback from your muscles that say you should stop. And you learn how to negotiate and figure out what matters most to you and push through that.